Welcome to another video on the NLC Expert Services YouTube page. In this video, I'm going to talk about one of my favorite topics this year, and that is UAS, Unmanned Aerial Systems, colloquially known as drones. These things are amazing because you can collect so much data, you can measure so many project sites, it's cheap, it's easy, it's pretty darn accurate if you do it properly. It's amazing. But the one thing that drives me absolutely crazy is the lack of drone safety in the profession. Now, this is not limited to land surveyors. I mean, we have all kinds of professionals and hobbyists, and they are caught doing wild things. You know, there was a gentleman who hit a Black Hawk helicopter over New York because he was flying too high. There have been so many documented cases of airliners or other kind of planes either getting close or actually hitting a drone that it's really scary. And the fact is, almost all of these accidents could have been prevented if you used some kind of safety checklist, or at least, demonstrated some kind of basic aeronautical decision making even before you flew this drone. So today I want to talk about two things. Number one is the legality of flying as a surveyor, and number two is just using smart choices, making common sense, rational choices with your drone that's not only going to protect you from liability, but it's going to protect the public and private flyers as well. So it's really not a legal question, it's a life question. All right, number one is legal. When I say, are you flying legally? What I mean is, first of all, are you flying as a hobbyist, or are you flying as a professional? If you're flying as a professional, then you need to have a couple of things. Now, this is broken up into pilot and drone. So pilot, you need to have a UAS 107 license. That's basically a remote operator's pilot license. And you need to satisfy some requirements. You've got to have an annual review every 2 years. You've got to make sure you're not under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Make sure you're safe. Second is your drone. You have to register your drone. You have to make sure that it has some kind of registration number on it, which is in plain view. And also make sure it's under that 50 pounds, which is what the UAS operator is allowed to use, up to 50 pounds and change. So that's the legal part. You've got a pilot who's licensed, who's certificated, who has the necessary training, and you have a drone that's safe to fly, that's under the pound, that is always in direct view, that is below 400 feet. All of these things, it's an entire class just to talk about these requirements. But the unfortunate thing is that everyone says, oh, I'm legal, I'm legal, I'm legal. Well, it doesn't matter if you're legal. You can do a lot of stupid stuff and still be legal. So I'm not asking you to be a legal drone pilot. I'm asking you to be a smart drone pilot when you're collecting survey data. What exactly does that mean? Well, I break this up into 4 parts. Number one is pilot. Number two is the aircraft. Is your drone ready to roll? 3, environment. Is this a safe environment weather-wise? Is it a safe environment airspace-wise? Are there any active TFRs or NOTAMs? And then E, and that's still environment. So PAVE. You got your pilot, you've got your aircraft, you have your environment. Pilot-wise, I always go through this idea of, well, am I under any medications? Am I feeling good? Am I in a right state of mind? Because if I'm frustrated or I'm angry or I'm in a bad mood, this is not the time to be flying. And you're just going through and you say, am I physically, am I mentally, am I emotionally able to fly this drone properly? And if you're not, because you have a cold or because you're angry at your coworker or anything else, just don't do it. Next is your aircraft. Is this aircraft safe to fly? Does it have enough battery power or gasoline? Is it the right size aircraft to be flying this mission? Do I have the necessary payload, the right camera, the right GPS, the right gear? If not, not the time to fly. And then finally is your environment. Is the weather clear? Am I able to always maintain a direct view of my drone? Is it windy? Because these drones are like kites. And most importantly, am I in some kind of controlled airspace, TFR, NOTAM area that's going to get me in trouble? Well, I hope not, because they'll pull your license if you illegally fly into airspace. So now we're legal, but we're also, on top of legal, safe and smart. And the last thing to think about is it's not about the mission today. It's about setting a good example for all of the professional flyers. Because if a pilot or a person on the ground or air traffic control has an incident with a drone, one person can ruin it for the entire profession. Land surveyor flies drone into military helicopter. Imagine that headline. Well, I don't want to. I want to set a good example for the entire profession, because being able to collect aerial photography in just a few hours is a huge game changer. And I hope that as land surveyors, we'll expand this practice and not have the government or someone else contract it because of a few bad apples and their bad behavior. So in conclusion, fly legal, fly safe, and most importantly, have fun, because this is something that our predecessors have never gotten to experience. This is once in a lifetime stuff. And I hope that in the next generation, they'll be having the new technology where we say we wish we could have used it. So, enjoy it, have fun, but be legal and be safe.